Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
How do you find a good prep center when you're wanting to get into the wholesale business model and outsource that, or any business model and outsource that portion of your business?
Yeah, it's a great question. We just had an issue in our Facebook group where, and I forget the name of the prep center that they were using. They got shut down. They are now being sued by all their clients, some being, in our Facebook group, because they stopped shipping in, said that they didn't receive anything. And oh, by the way, there was $100,000 in inventory sitting in their warehouse. It happens. Listen, business is risky. The simple fact is you get rewarded for taking risk. But again, risk mitigation always comes into play. So that comes down, in my opinion, to asking for recommendations, not just who do you use, and how long have you used them, and where have they gone wrong, right? Because if you've used a prep center for 3 years, the likelihood of them continuing business is pretty high. Now, having multiples, absolutely important, right? Starting out, you need one. Don't care where they are, you need one. Eventually, as you grow your suppliers, you start to break them out into regions. So you might have a West Coast prep center, a East Coast prep center, and maybe a Midwest prep center, depending on, you got to have enough volume for it to make sense financially for you. I really haven't had those issues because I do my due diligence, like get on the phone and say, okay, listen, if this were to happen, what would you, and see, and say, okay, that's great. That's a hypothetical. Walk me through your most recent issue. Every company has issues. Don't act like you don't. You can't tell me you haven't had any issues ever. Listen, it happens, right? We're humans. We make errors. Just tell me how you handle it and how you made it right. I just want to know that you have, my best interest at heart, and that if something does go wrong, because listen, it does, that you're going to look out for me and make it right. It's not a big deal. I had a small issue where my turnaround time is typically two days. It can be a single day, but typically 2 days. And they had a forward from a private label. So it was a freight forward from China, and it was like 100,000 units. And they're like, listen, we got to get this done. We got to pull people. You're going to get backlogged. It's going to take a week to get out. Okay. Not a big deal. They made it up to me and they said, listen, this is just how it is right now. It's a logistical nightmare. We don't know what to do, but we're going to work ourselves through this thing and make it right. But I want you to know and be transparent that you're going to get pushback, and here's why. As long as I have transparency and I know what's going on, listen, I run a business just like they do. Sometimes, things get overwhelming for me too. So I'm like, hey, okay, not a big deal. I'll go ahead and place another restock order. So I know I'm be out of stock. That sucks. It's not great. But what else are they going to do, right? The fact that they were transparent about that whole situation with me, and my rep gets on the phone all the time, right? The level of communication and transparency matters tremendously. You can gauge that pretty well with any business. So if they're not wanting to jump on the phone, if they don't want to have an hour-long conversation for you to ask questions, move on. There's tons of them. But again, ask, who do you use and how long have you used them, and how long have they been in business? Those really matter.
Got it.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at SellerRoundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, SellerSEO.com and AmazingAtHome.com.